Hi everyone, welcome to PowerShell for Penetration Testers at Pentester Academy. In this video, we continue the discussion of client-side attacks using PowerShell, and yet again we will continue with the discussion on malicious or weaponized attachments. In this video, let's see out CHM and out shortcut. How do these scripts work and what are their peculiarities? So let's start with out CHM. As the name suggests, out CHM could be used to generate infected HTML help files. It has similar, not same, but similar syntax as out Word and out Excel, which we saw in the previous video. So we can provide payload URL as in that case. The difference being, in case of out Excel, we had this default payload, while in case of out CHM, if we look at the source, it is the default payload. That is, in case of out Excel, we were sitting on a PowerShell. We were not sitting on a PowerShell.exe prompt. Here in out CHM, we sit on a PowerShell prompt. So while providing custom payloads in outward, we used to provide custom payloads like this, PowerShell.exe, C something. But in this case, we will say -c get process, etc. That is, there is no need to mention PowerShell.exe here. So that is one of the differences while providing the payload. But if you are using payload URL, there is no such difference. Another thing to keep in mind is, let's just use get process here, is you need HTML help workshop on your own machine, that is the attacker's machine, and need to provide the path to it so that a CHM file could be compiled. So that is a requirement. But since we have seen these examples in the previous video, let's do something new. Till now, when we need to execute a script, we have to use the one-liner download and execute to achieve it. But we can always use encoded scripts. To generate a properly compressed encoded script, you can use invoke encode in the utility directory of Nishank. So let's pass a PowerShell shell code, which is CMD reverse PowerShell from Metasploit, which is saved in the current directory right now, and specify that we want an output command. Now if we open the encoded command .txt, we have this encoded shellcode. This encoded shellcode could be used with the payload here. Let's specify it here. As you can see, a file called doc.chm has been created. Let's see if our listener is running. Let's run our listener. So our listener is a simple Windows shell reverse TCP, and we send it to a victim. If the victim opens it, you can see that there is a quick splash of screen in front of user, and we have a plain Windows shell here. Etc. We can run any command. So this comes really handy when we do not want our document to interact with the internet, because it is not always really stealthy if a CHM file is seen interacting over the network. So this is the way we can use it. Now let's see the next interesting script called out shortcut. Out shortcut has exactly same syntax as out CHM. We can provide a payload. Again, if you see the source code, note that we are again sitting on a PowerShell prompt. So no need to provide PowerShell.exe here while using the custom payload. Let's again use the payload URL here. And let's provide the URL of our reverse HTTPS meterpreter. It is listening on our Kali machine. So if we run this now, the script is downloaded and we have a meterpreter session on the machine. We can always tweak the icon and hotkey assigned to this shortcut. So here is the catch. If you are able to execute out shortcut directly on a target, whenever the target presses this hotkey, the shortcut will get executed. That is true for most of the times. Sometimes these shortcuts just don't work. Actually, I don't know why, but most of the times they do work. So if you're able to execute out shortcut on a target, this hotkey or whatever you provide here could execute your shortcut again and again. But one thing to notice here is if someone opens the properties of this shortcut, our target would be really visible. So we can use even encoded commands if we want. So that is all. One thing is, note what we are using here. It's a COM object. Again, we used something provided by non-PowerShell thing, used it in PowerShell to extend its functionality. So that is all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're enjoying your time at Pentester Academy, please recommend us to your friends and colleagues in the information security community.